So why is it my parents and not fathers? Well, sorry, there we go. The answer is D, it's a false friend. As in some languages, the word for father and parent is the same, like in Spanish. Number two, people is countable in English. Um, so we need, and it's plural noun, one person, two people. So we need the plural verb. So the answer is E, subject agreement. The verb has to change. Register. Bring me the menu. Inappropriate for the situation. Four is C. Yeah. Some students have difficulty knowing where to put the adverb in a sentence. So it needs to go after the verb to be, but before the main verb. So the answer is to do with word order. Have something to drink. That's to do with the difficulty in selecting the correct verb to collocate with something. Um, it's quite common in Mexico. They say take something because they think the word take collocates with having a drink, right? But usually we say have a coffee, um, not take a coffee. Yeah? In Spanish, they say things like tomar and café, right? So they think that the verb collocates with the noun the same way as it does in Spanish, but it doesn't. So it's a collocation issue, the verb and the noun. Hmm? Sure, you can think of other examples. Six is I. Choir is pronounced. Yeah, and it's also an issue for Spanish speakers, isn't it? Because yeah, looking at that word, students will try to pronounce it as it seems written, yeah? But it's not pronounced anything like it's written. It's pronounced choir. Not they might try to pronounce it choir, right? But it's not. So sound and spelling correspondence. I mean, that can be an issue for learners, especially in Spanish-speaking countries. 7H, widened. Yeah. Cluster of consonants at the end of the word make it difficult for students whose L1 doesn't contain these sounds. Consonant clusters can be an issue in Spanish, especially in Spanish-speaking countries. Uh, don't tend to have so many consonants together, right? It's often Spanish is often like vowel, consonant, and so on. Yeah. Eight is F. Students don't know where to put the stress in a word. And has been working, has worked. It's to do with aspect. Yeah. It's not to do with tense. It's to do with aspect. Aspect is like the way the speaker perceives the action, whether it's repeated or just one time. Yeah, so when it's many years, it's more likely to be has been working. So those are common correction issues. Let's do some terminology. Now, you may wish to consult the TKT glossary at this point. Okay? Look at the same handout. or the same handout I've shared with you? Can you give me the thumbs up to confirm you have it? Thumbs up. I'd like you to work in the same trios as before, and I'd like you to try and define these terms. What is an error? What is a slip? If you're not sure, look in the TKT glossary. Huh? Get into the habit of using that glossary. Just give me you've given me the thumbs up, right, that you have this. You should be on a handout 2 terminology check. Question 3, why do people think it's important for students to make mistakes? The answer might not be in the glossary for that one, but it might be. So have a look anyway, and try and answer it in your own way. What can teachers learn from students' mistakes? What is the teacher's role in relation to students' mistakes? Hmm? So discuss those 5 questions together in your trios. Then move on to activity 2. Why do students make mistakes? Choose the correct term in the box for the following descriptions. The box is down here, so we've got false friend, interlanguage, interference, overgeneralization, fossilization, developmental error. Match the numbers to the letters. Do it together in groups. You can use the TKT glossary to check. Okay. You've all got this, so I'm going to put you into groups now. This is pretty important terminology, eh? So I'll give you about 7 minutes to do that. Do it quickly as you can. Still got quite a lot to do. We haven't done writing yet, so we need to move on. Marlene and Sochit will need your help, Danny. Please go to the breakout room.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't get the option to leave. I think my internet is failing,
Ah,
so it closed off and it opened back up as it is.
try now. Sorry, we need to keep moving along. So, you've got the handout, and let's check the answers now. Axel's just re rejoined us. Okay, I better give Axel the handout. Let's see. Extend. Writing. Oh, there you go, Axel. So an error is a mistake that a student makes when trying to say something that is above their level of language. They would not be able to self-correct an error. Like an elementary student trying to use the second conditional, right? Because they haven't learnt it yet. Whereas a slip is a mistake that a student makes that they're able to correct themselves, usually because they've probably learnt it. But they've just got tired or, so inevitable. Mistakes are often considered to be important because they're an important and necessary part of language learning. Students need to experiment with language to work out how it works. So you need to give them the chance to use the language and figure out how to do it themselves. Teachers can learn what students know, what they need to be taught, and then they can find out what aspects of language they have processed. This enables teachers to adapt the teaching program, so that's what they can learn from mistakes. Hmm? And what is the role of teachers? Decide if, when, and how to correct. Now you can see on this handout there's some questions that can guide us. I'll leave that with you. We're not going to go over it in any great detail. Now, I think it's time to move towards writing before it gets any later. Let's do that. I'm going to flash on the screen some questions, and I'd like you to take a notebook and just jot down your immediate response to the questions. All right. I'm only going to flash it on the screen for like 20 seconds, 20 or 30 seconds. All right. The question. Okay. Um, not reset. So is this like your impression, your attitudes towards writing in the classroom? Okay. You've all got some paper and a pencil, right? Here we go. Do you think that writing is easier than speaking? Yes or no, and why? Okay, 20 seconds to note down your response. Okay, next question. Give you a bit longer for this one. I'll give you 30 seconds. What makes a good writing lesson, in your opinion? All right. Time's up on that one. Next question. Should writing be done for homework rather than in class time? These are very much based on your individual opinions. There's no right or wrong answer. 20 seconds for that one. Next question. Which is the most useful genre to practice? Is it letters, emails, stories? The most useful genre to practice. Next one. Is it a good idea to ask students to write to different readers? Why or why not? Do you feel that correcting students' written work is a waste of time? Final question. Other than grammar and lexis, what makes, what do you think makes a good piece of writing? All right. Now, here are those questions on a worksheet. Okay. Going to give you a maximum of 5 minutes to share your answers in your groups. Breakout rooms. Share your answers, please. You don't have to answer all of them, but try and answer some of them. Axel, could you join the breakout rooms, please? Thanks. Sorry to keep pressing on with this, but time is moving on. So here were the questions. Did anyone have any? Did you hear any interesting responses? There are no absolutely right answers here.
Um, I think, well, for the number three, should writing be done for homework? I would say no, because sometimes
Mm,
students don't do homework and they don't practice writing at home. Like, oh, today I'm gonna write,
yeah,
I'm gonna practice writing. So I prefer
that's
using
right.
the time in class.
Yeah. Sometimes teachers get lazy and say, we didn't have a chance to actually do any writing
Yeah.
in the class, so just do it for homework, right? But they do need
Yeah.
guidance, don't we, to develop the writing sub skills. Mhm.
Yes.
Just as they need training with any of the other skills, whether it's speaking, reading, or listening. Yeah. Any other points?
Yeah, I think with writing too, what's tricky. For writing it at home, like homework versus in the class, I think too, like sometimes, especially older learners will just like look it up rather than like practice what you actually know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like making that correction by yourself, like writing it first the way that you think it is, and then like correcting it is a better way to learn than just like going straight off the internet. So doing it in the class, I think it's
Yeah, agreed. How about the final question? Other than grammar and lexis, what do you think makes a good piece of writing? Any ideas there?
Um, Cohesion and coherence.
Coherence, you said, Marlene.
Yes, coherence.
Okay, okay. To make a piece of writing coherent, what do you have to do?
I think just making sure that all your points connect. You start in the beginning, you go to the middle, you like build it up, and
Yeah.
then you land where you like where you're supposed to.
Yeah. So it needs to the ideas need to
Connectors.
flow logically, don't they? Yeah, in a coherent piece of writing. Are there any ways we can help students with that? With coherence, making their ideas flow logically? Could we show them, for example, how in an email, making an inquiry about a course that you want to do, um, we need to show the students how to organize their ideas. So there's usually certain stages that a type of writing has to go through. Yeah. Yeah. So for example, if it's an anecdote, a personal anecdote, there's usually an orientation stage where you give the background. Then there's often a complication, something goes wrong, right, when you're telling a personal story, and then there's usually a resolution at the end. So if we show students that there are typically those three stages, when telling a personal anecdote, they will be able to write more coherently. Right. So other sub skills for writing are, this is quite important, coherence, organization of ideas, which makes the text read smoothly. There's cohesion. That's linking of content using appropriate language, such as conjunctions. Mm. And discourse markers, connectives, however, and, but, because. There's the appropriate style for the task. A formal letter uses Dear Mr. or Mrs., but an email to a friend uses Hi. There's interesting and relevant content, which answers the question or title set at the beginning of the task. There's a willingness to take risks with new grammar and or lexis being vocabulary. There's appropriate layout. This is actually connected to coherence. Yeah. Organization. So having the right format and paragraphs, so on. That makes sense? Good. Now, just like that, the speaking, we'll have a look at, we don't have much time, but we've got some, maybe 25 minutes to look at some writing activities. And I'd like you to make a note of whether these writing activities focus on any particular subskill and do you like them? So we don't have a great deal of time. So maybe it's just better just to go through them one by one. So the first one is this. It's a shit. Damn it, I had it a second ago. Worksheet 2, there we go. Have a look at that. Confirm you received it with a thumbs up. Thank you. It's a, anyone recognize this type of text?
A postcard.
Postcard, isn't it? Right. What writing subskills might it develop? Is it formal or informal?
It's informal.
Yeah. So it could be what we just mentioned about style. Yeah. Showing students how to write in an informal style. It's like a personal type, informal message, isn't it? But even a very sort of, what's the word? Sort of informal writing like this has a certain formula, right? If you look in the chat, there's usually a greeting and news update, There's further news and closing and connection. So even this simple sort of writing can help accustom students to organizing their ideas in a very simple way. It's at an elementary level. Yeah. Yeah. There's a greeting, an update. There's some more news, and there's a closing down and a kind of emotional connection. Love, David and Irene. Yeah. So that's the postcard. Students use the materials given, write their own postcard from their last holiday in the space below. Next one, picture story. It's a bit like the one we did for speaking, but you can make it for writing. Tutor resource 2. Here we are. Check that. So maybe students are given 4 pictures each, or 4 or 5 pictures, and they have to write a short story using all the 5 ideas from the pictures in any order. What sub-skills could that develop? Any ideas?
Maybe coherence,
Coherence, why?
because they have a set of ideas and they have to organize them.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, and might get them to used to the idea that there needs to be a beginning, a middle, and an end to a story. Okay, that's cool. So that is called picture story. And the next one is called myself. Show you that one. Stage 5. Oh, yes, here we are. Have a look at this one. What's the purpose of this writing task? Hmm. Does it need does it need paragraphs? Is it to do with spelling? Hmm? It's like related to proofreading and editing, isn't it? That's some skills that students need to develop. Hmm? So you probably realized it's to do with layout and punctuation, this one. Yeah. So the answer would be the following. Send it to you. OHT2. There we go. And you notice, yeah, personal pronouns like I need to be capitalized. Sentences need to be broken up. Well, these very long lines need to be broken up into sentences. Full stops, commas. There's no commas, but there's full stops, aren't there? And pronouns. It. Okay, so that is called myself. Here's another one called job application. Job. They're all parts of a formal letter. What do students need to do here? Organization, says Danny. Why?
I'm hoping the internet doesn't crash, but I think it's just like it's out of order.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that would putting these sentences into the right order and perhaps consolidating sentences into paragraphs, yes, will help them develop understanding of organization. Yeah. And perhaps even formality. Notice they're using uncontracted sentences, full sentences, no contractions. So yeah, layout and level of formality. Layout, organization, same thing really. Yeah, the answer, if you try to do it where you write, you'll notice that there are the address was put in the wrong place as well, sort of. So you have to. No, that's the original. Here's the, yeah, you give them the answer after they put it into the right order. Yeah, that's layout and level of formality. And if you want to do something a bit more fun, that's kind of utilitarian, isn't it? Perhaps for older students, um, teenagers, adults. It's a kind of, you kind of have fun rewriting as well. And this is worksheet 4. Give you this one. Uh, how about this one? This is a young learner's writing activity called The Other Day. How do you think this works? Imagine how this would be done in a face-to-face class. Each student gets a worksheet. They write in the first space, following the prompts. When they've finished that, they fold over what they wrote, and then they pass the worksheet on to the next student. Yeah, the student writes, there I saw a grizzly bear. Yeah. So I said, all right, so they write that and then they fold it over and pass it on to the next student. Next student fills in the next blank, which is now at the top of the page. It said, you can have a wish, and this is what I wished for. So then you write what you wished for. The activity continues until the sheet is full, and then the students can open it and read the story. Could that be a fun activity to do with younger learners? Yeah, right. So that's called The Other Day. Which of these did you like or not like? Didn't like any of them.
I liked the second to last one.
Second to last one, which was the job application?
Yes.
Why?
It can be used in real life, so you could use it in case you need to search for a job.
Yeah.
It also helps you with cohesion and and appropriate style. It's very multifunctional.
mm.
So I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good activity and it helps you a lot.
Great. We've got about 10 minutes left. So we need to focus on just a few minutes on writing correction. Because we haven't really done that. Worksheet 5. Worksheet 5, stage 6. Here we are. The task for the student was to write about something unusual that happened to him. Hmm? Have a look at the text, okay? And I'd like you to I don't think we're going to have time. Just think about how would you correct this text? Okay, just to have a chance, spend about 1 or 2 minutes reading it, yeah? And then I'd like you to tell the whole group how you would correct this piece of writing. Those who are teachers, perhaps you could tell us any techniques you use for correcting students' writing. No. One technique for correction of writing that is often mentioned on TKT is this. It's called correction code. All right. So perhaps this is from the TKT book. All right. And the teacher has used correction code to indicate the types of mistakes, inaccuracy that the learner has made. This enables the learners to make their own corrections. Here is an explanation of this, the letters and the symbols. Okay, you can find this on page 142 of the TKT book. Hmm? So you could have a go at, if you're feeling enthusiastic, to try to correct this Chinese student's work using this correction code. What do you think the advantages would be of using correction codes? Could there be any disadvantages?
I think it would be easier for the students to identify uh, their mistakes,
Mm.
and they can correct them easier too.
Uh-huh.
And
Certainly,
also
yeah.
for the teacher to um, identify the mistakes and to classify them.
Mm. Any disadvantages?
Maybe in the earlier stages of starting to use the code, it could be a bit difficult for both student and teacher to start assigning the code to the mistake.
Very good, yes. That can get a bit difficult earlier on, can't it? Getting the students to actually do it. Take note. Yeah. Actually notice the mistakes. Right. Well, we're just about done for today. I'm going to give you a sample task from the TKT exam that you could do on your own related to practice activities. So time yourself when you're doing this. Give yourself 6 or 7 minutes. Right? It's module 1, types of activities and tasks for language and skills. Give yourself the timer, the clock, 7 questions. In your own time, you decide when to do it. I'll give you the answers in the chat. Don't look at the answers right now. Keep them separate. Here are the answers, but note them down. Yeah. So I'll see you on the 19th of September. That's our next session. And in the meantime, what can you work on? You're going to work on lexis and phonology, a timetable. All right. Good luck with that. Any questions or doubts before we finish?
No.
Right. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. Que descansen.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye, girls.